I know I'm not the only one who has been seeing this like all over my For You page and on YouTube. I've been dying to make one of these things because it just looks like so much fun, and it was. So if you want to learn how to do it, or you just need like a little inspiration, then stick around. Let's do this. To start, you're gonna need a canvas. This one is already done. It is from Goodwill. It's a very large canvas. I would say maybe 4 feet by 3 feet. And these are some other ones that I'm gonna do as well. These are just like old canvases that I had. So you can take anything like that you already have in your house that's just kind of like outdated and you don't want to hang up anymore. Most of the canvases have backs like this. I've seen a lot of creators who make these put little tiny canvases on like a big wall, and it never looks good. That's why I'm doing like, what, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, and then I'm gonna put them all together on one big wall or you can do a smaller one, but just make sure it takes up most of the wall. Like if you do a small canvas, then it needs to take up most of the wall that you put it on. Otherwise it's just not gonna look good, like it's not gonna look right. You're gonna need putty, any type of putty. This one I got in Japan, and so it's obviously gonna be different than whatever you find, but you can just go to your local store and get some putty. And then you need something to spread it on with. I just literally used a metal credit card, but they have specific little spatula tools that you can buy too. I was a little bit worried that it was gonna like ruin the microchip on my card, but it didn't, thank goodness. It just washed right off with hot water. I did it right away though, I did not let it dry. And that's literally all you need. Like, there's no sanding involved, no nothing. Like, this covered up all of the colors on it. It's a pretty thin layer that I put on there. And I'm gonna go over it again, but all you need is a canvas, a blank canvas, and putty, and something to spread it with. And gloves, you need gloves for sure. And then something to put down on the floor, like it's gonna get everywhere. So get like an old sheet or something like that. I like to just sit on the floor with the canvas and just make sure I inspect it and that there's nothing that needs to be like sanded down or any rough edges or anything like that. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because this stuff goes on so messy that you can pretty much do it on any type of canvas. Initially, I thought what I was going to have to do is paint the canvas white first because I thought that the black would be way too dark. But I'm like, let me just give it a try and see what happens. And it turns out that it totally covered the black without a problem at all. And you definitely don't need to paint first. I squeezed out the rest of the putty that was in this bag. And if you use the normal type of putty from Home Depot, the one in the bucket, it's already pre-made, you can just scoop out, an equivalent amount that I have here. And then after that, I just started spreading it across the top. And this part is like the most fun ever. Like you feel like a child again, just spreading this all over the canvas. And it's pretty thick, and so it is like a little bit of a workout trying to spread it around. It doesn't move super easy, but it's not hard by any means at all either. When I did the first canvas, which is the one that's behind me here in this video, I started it by spreading around with a credit card, and that worked really well too, but I thought it was like a little harder than just using my hands initially. And I think that the layer will be thicker if you use a card rather than just using your hands and spreading it around like this. And this time around, I didn't do this on the first one, but for this one, I did also like the edges. So I tried to get all of the blank areas that I could and then just start with the edges. And although I am going to do a second layer, I probably won't go completely over it. I'll just cover, some of the spots that I want to have a little more dimension. And then I'll also go around the edges again so that there's like a nice thick amount of putty across all of the edges, because when you hang it up, you can see the edges as well. So I want it to be fully covered. And now that I covered it completely with my hands, then I went in with the credit card and just kind of like smoothed everything out. And this gave it like a really nice smooth look, which you could leave it like this, honestly, if you wanted to. But I wanted it to be a little messier, a little more abstract. And so here I'm kind of coming in and just putting lines in different directions. A lot of people also use a tool where you can actually put like a little rainbow design or, you know, whatever design that you want. This is just what I think looks the best in my opinion. But it's all personal preference. So get on Pinterest or Google and see what you can find and save some ideas of different designs and just make it your own. Figure out what you like and what you want and what you would be willing to look at hanging up in your house, and then just go from there and have fun with it. I figured out once I started covering all of the sides with my hands, there was a little bit of mud there already. And then I took the excess that was on my gloves and I put it on the credit card, and then I started using that to kind of fill around the sides, and I found that worked really well. And when I go in to do the second coat, I think I'll do the same thing. I'll use the card for the sides because it worked just perfectly. Also, if you have long kitchen gloves, I feel like that would work a little better than maybe just like the short gloves that only go up to your wrist, because as you can see on these gloves, like it kind of was going up my arm. And they say not to get this stuff on your skin, but it did get a little bit like on my knees from the sheet, and it washed right off with a washcloth. I didn't notice like any rash or anything like that, and so don't worry if it does get on you. I don't think, it's that big of a deal. I didn't notice any type of smell or anything like that. I know with paint and things like that, it just feels like you're breathing in chemicals. And with this, I didn't notice anything like that. If the putty that you get, you do notice that, then I probably would wear a mask. But I was also sitting next to a window, and I opened the window partially through as well, because I started thinking, like, what if this does have a lot of chemicals in it and I just don't smell it? And so I just opened the window. But here I'm just like so excited because of how easy it is and how fast it is. And I just like could not believe how well it turned out and how it covered the black just like so easily. And I purposely did my design like this, where it's not perfect. It's very, very abstract. And what I think I'm going to do is go in and make it, because you can see some very defined lines, and I'll show you how it looks now that it's dry, because you can see those lines even more now. And so what I think I'll do is kind of break those lines up a little bit and add some.
Overall, I'm really happy with it.
I won't like fully
it looks
coat
so good. I even did the sides a little bit. I probably will go in with a second coat once this dries,
some more,
and just make sure that it's like perfect the way I want it.
Is peeking through, and same thing on the canvas.
But this is so fast.
I like it.
I am shocked about
I think I'll leave some of them,
how fast this goes, and I'm absolutely loving the result that we got.
So I love how it turned out. I think it looks
so nice.
And this was just so fun and therapeutic, and I honestly did not realize how much I was going to enjoy doing this art project.
So I used all of the putty. I actually really like this putty, so I'm really happy that I got this one. It is a little messy, so definitely don't use a sheet that, like, this is gonna be ruined for sure, the sheet. And then the card, I'm gonna have to wash that like immediately. These are the two canvases. I'm actually really, really surprised that with that little amount of putty, I was able to do both of these canvases. The big one, you can see how big it is next to this other one. And I think they're gonna look so good, like just arranged and all together on the wall. I can't wait to get these finished. This has been such a fun project, and just like something that's been a long time coming, and I've been wanting to work on this for so long, and then just finally doing it feels so, so good. So I'm in love with how these turned out. The small one looks so small next to the big one, and it's actually pretty tall, to be honest. So They both look amazing. I did a little thicker of a coat on the smaller one because it's black and I wanted to cover the color, but honestly, it wasn't a problem at all covering the color, like one coat, and it looks incredible. I probably will go over it again, but I love the variation, and honestly, it just looks so beautiful. I'm excited to wrap it up. So pretty. And this has just been so much fun. All right, it's starting to get dark, and so I definitely need to wrap it up, and I ran out of putty. I'm so happy that the putty that I found worked, and so I'm gonna definitely go back and so that I can finish the other canvases that are right here. And I'm just so excited to have finally done this project. And I really need to go wash this credit card before it dries on there and ruins it. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Just for reference, I keep saying like that I took forever to do these projects. I've had this big canvas right here for 3 years. It's just been sitting in kind of like a storage type area. I actually moved with it when we moved to Japan. And I've had all of these probably since like 2016. I bought all these in 2016. But that big one is initially what inspired me to do this project, because I kept seeing it all over social media, and I just never felt like doing it. I never felt like figuring out how to do it, never felt like going to get the stuff, and I honestly just didn't realize how easy and fun it would be. But these are the canvases now that they're dry. As you can see like every single little line, which I love. My husband was like, that looks like it just should just be hung up in an art gallery. And I'm like, I know, right? So pretty and so easy. So I am gonna go in and give it a little more dimension. And of course, I'm gonna cover all of the edges, because on this one, I didn't even start the edges. On this one, I did do a little bit of the edges, but I wanna go in and like cover all of those spots that are open right there. And then maybe just do a little more dimension and variation on this one too. Like that spot right there. I wanna break it up and make it a little more abstract and less liney. But overall, they dried really fast. I'll say they'll be dry within like 3 hours probably. And stay tuned. We're renovating a home right now. We already purchased the home, and so I can't wait to reveal the home and hang these up and start decorating. Stay tuned for that video. It's coming. The weather is starting to warm up. I love it. I love sitting outside. So get you a beer, sit outside, and start enjoying the weather. Summer is my favorite season. I love spring too. Summer is amazing. This is my view from the 5th floor on the tower I live in. They put up these nets to block the birds from coming in, because there's a lot of crows. But I can't believe I'm going to be taking these canvases all the way from Japan. They were created in Japan, and taking them all the way to Florida. Cannot wait to be back in the States. Oh gosh, you guys have no idea how lucky you are to live in the United States. It's truly a blessing.